Hello everybody, welcome back to another video for the day. Now we're going right back into r/Tales of Neckbeard, the lovely story time that we all know and love. But beforehand, be sure to like the video, comment down below during the video if there's something you would like to discuss with the other people watching, and afterwards consider subscribing to the channel. Alright, let's get right into that lovely content. Let's go! Our first story comes to us from username AlalaFellsBum. The time a Neckbeard commissioned me. Hello readers of Reddit, time for a cringy one. Here's the cast. The skinny Neckbeard, SN, my tablemate, TM. They don't say much until around the end, but they were present during the encounter, and me, you get the idea. On mobile, blah blah. I'm an artist. I'm a huge anime fan too, so I usually try to sell art at conventions that I work. I'm not disclosing the name of the con that this happened at because that would give away where I am. Usually while working at a table, I tend to dress normally, but sometimes I like to cosplay. This day in particular, I was dressed as Ruby Rose from Ruby, her Volume 5 outfit. I also have two Ruby-related prints I did and were on display. Me and TM do commissions while working at a table, usually buttons or normal character drawings. I specialize in character sheets where if you want a full layout of your character, I can do it. Now for the fun part. SN walks over to our table and begins immediately to ask about the Ruby prints. He is also actually wearing a goddamn fedora. I haven't seen anything related to Ruby here yet. How much are they? He then notices me in my cosplay. Oh cool, you're cosplaying her. Yep, and the prints are both 15. Anything in particular you're looking for? We do commissions. Really? How much are they? I have a little poster here listing my prices, and on the other side are her prices. Who did the Ruby prints? That would be me. All the ones on my side of the table are what I did. The others are my TM's. Cool, so like I never knew girls were into Ruby. Really, dude? What? Huh? I didn't think they'd be into it. I've never seen a girl Ruby fan before this. Okay, that's odd. So do you have Ruby OC's own characters? Yeah, a few. I like the style of the series, so I doodled a few. Sweet! Then you'd be able to do a commission of my character, right? Sure, depending on what you want, I can have it done before the convention is over. Do you have a reference or description of it? Now for this part, he goes on a full-on speech about his character, and he doesn't have any photo references, so he's trying to explain what it looks like. When we finally get to the part of payment for it, he goes with a character sheet. I charge 40 for the character sheet because it's one full body, 2 headshots, 1 torso, weapons or accessories, and a box for its description, plus I send an option to have it printed if they wanted it. He pays and I go back to working on previous commissions I've gotten. He just stands there watching and then goes back to talking about his character. At this point, I have written down as much of its description as I could. I have the description for him written down somewhere in my computer back home. Would that be easier? Oh yeah, that would be. Do you have an email or a way to send it? I have Discord. What's your user? Oh, I gave him my spam account one. Here, cool. I'll message you when I get it. Okay, if you message before tomorrow, then I should have it done before the con ends. If not, I'll email the PDF file for it. Sweet! He finally left after hanging around for another half hour talking. I get home for the night and I noticed he already messaged me, so I messaged back. Hello, it's me from the con. Hiya, you got the description? I'll be able to start right away if you do. I do, but could we voice chat? It's easier to explain it more. Normally, when I work on art, I like listening to music or, well, Reddit stories. Nothing too distracting or something to have in the background. I don't really like trying to have a conversation while I'm working on art because I lose concentration. Sure, but I tend to go quiet while drawing, so it won't be much. That's alright. Can I call now? Go ahead. Just plugging in my headphones. Bad choice. Immediately into the call. Mind you, I've heard what he sounds like and talks like from earlier. He starts talking in this fake, whispery, deep tone, like he's trying to sound mysterious and dark. I ignore his change of voice and proceed to copy down what I need to draw his character. Since I have him removed now, his character was basically a typical edgelord with an already canon character's name, as in the name he chose for it was already in the series and is pretty well known. Throughout the call, he kept steering away from casual convo to more of what I did or liked. I tried to keep it just business casual because, heck, what did I know about him outside of the fact that he's a huge Ruby fan? After about an hour of this, I ended the call stating that I got all I needed and will work on it fully now. Every day, this guy messaged me in the typical roleplay style people use, like this. Moves in closer to you or other cringy stuff like that. He would also want to constantly be in a voice call, and every time I said yes, he would use that weird voice, but when I saw him at the con, he was talking normally. I get about halfway done with his commission when my art program just stops working. I couldn't open anything and my files wouldn't load, just dead. So I tell the guy and refund him his money because I couldn't figure out how to fix it, and I promise promised that I would finish it, but until then, he could have his money back. And that's the last I've heard of him. My TM pointed out to me that while SN was around our table, he would just watch me or move around out of view to watch. I'm pretty sure in the future I'll have more neckbeard stories the more I go to these conventions, because I have a bad thing where I somehow attract all the weird ones. I blame the fact that I'm a tiny but Asian girl and that's into all this nerd stuff. You know, I'm honestly glad that this is the first story in at least a while where it hasn't had like some big dramatic endings. Like, I'm just kind of glad he backed off when he couldn't get his commission done. Although the hovering around your table while you are trying to do your work at the convention did seem a little odd, I'm just glad that it's over. Also, I hope that you're feeling well considering that you're hearing your own story in a Reddit video that you like to watch while you're doing commissions. Our next story comes to us from a username that I've already covered before in a couple other videos, but you know, the story just keeps on going. CreamPie92, Scotsbeard and William Wallace. Hey my wee cream pies, I'm back at it again to tell you another story of our friend Scotsbeard, the neckbeard who loves everything to do with Scotland. As you may know from my last post, I am Scottish myself, but currently reside in good old America. This story takes place around 2018, around 5 months have passed since the talent show, and Scotsbeard, despite being awful at it, is still playing them goddarn bagpipes and still speaking in that Braveheart/Groundskeeper Willie accent. So here's our lovely cast. Me, your lovely narrator, 100% Scottish blood, 5'4", quite curvy, and two others, beard bait. Jacko, my boyfriend, blonde hair, tall, skinny, and to Scotsbeard, a Yankee Doodle Chad. Halls, my best friend, half Mexican, also quite good looking, lesbian, and also a great guitarist. I'm sorry, but if if lesbian gets me demonetized, I'm just gonna have to censor it out. I'm sorry for the future if this happens. And of course, Scotsbeard, our neckbeard 6'2", around 300 pounds, loves everything Scottish, a vid anime fan, and just a general nuisance. Oh yeah, he has also said he was related to William Wallace. He isn't, by the way. The story. Me, Jacko, and Halls were sitting in the study hall revising for an upcoming test. Everything was quiet, not one peep from anyone, until we hear that ungodly sounding voice, "Hello, hello, my wee friends." Ah, bollocks. Scotsbeard walks in with a full tartan outfit complete with the kilt and the sporran. Hello, Scotsbeard, I say, trying my best not to laugh. Isn't it a bonny day, my lass? Scotsbeard says in that awful mixed accent. Yeah, sure is. I'm trying not to laugh at this point. Halls and Jacko just sit there also trying not to laugh. Scotsbeard keeps rambling on about how Scotland should be its own country rather than be controlled by the English. The way things are going just now, I would have agreed with that statement if he said it today. He then goes on to talk about William Wallace, his great grandfather. I swear to God, I'm reading this with my finger to the monitor. How he was so cool, and that one day he hopes to be just like him, leading an army of 6,000 Scots against the cowardly English, and also shouted the infamous line, "They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!" Oh my God. Jacko asked him, "Have you ever been to Scotland?" Scotsbeard said smugly, "Oh, Yankee, I've been to the Alba many times. Just recently I went to see the Loch Ness Monster." I swear to God, this accent is so fake and stupid. Yes, he literally said the Gaelic name instead of just Scotland. After that, it was time for class, finally. And we headed back without making any contact with Scotsbeard. And that's the end of that for tonight. But I have more stories of Scotsbeard and other beardos coming soon. So until next time, bye. You know, I know that is a horrible fake Scottish accent, but it's got to be like at least a million times better than what that guy was spitting out. I will have to say, I haven't read all of the stories of Scotsbeard yet. I kind of want to, really, but I get the feeling that there's eventually going to be a time where it tries to be him thinking that you're his girlfriend now just because you're Scottish. But yeah, looking forward to the future. Our last story comes to us from username Tuxedo Permakitten. TLDR, neckbeard/nice guy randomly found me on Facebook and asked me to meet in person. Instant regret. This story took place last year. I was trying to sell my Facebook friends some pies to eat so I could make some additional money so I can go to college. I checked my old messages and there was one requested message that was sent to me a month ago, and it was from Neckbeard. I asked Neckbeard if he wanted to buy some pies. He refused the offer and he said that he wanted a relationship with me. I didn't know him. The Neckbeard was 28 and I was 19, about to turn 20 next week. I didn't see the age thing as a big deal because I like older guys and I was at the legal age at the time. I asked for connections to see if I can trust myself into meeting Neckbeard because I have a very severe trust issues. It turns out he is my friend's cousin. We will call him P. P will come over later in the story. At the time, my ex-boyfriend had cheated on me and I was trying to find someone else because my ex-boyfriend did the same thing. I asked Neckbeard to meet me at one of my favorite places so I can be safe and closer to home. I only meet up with Neckbeard because I had nothing better to do at my time. Neckbeard showed up late looking nothing like his Facebook profile picture, and he looked disgusting like a neckbeard. He didn't have a neckbeard, he shaved it off, his hair was greasy, he was sweaty, some of his teeth were full of tartar, and they were missing. We were having a fun conversation and talked for about an hour. We talked about his cousin Pete a lot, and something was off about Neckbeard that raised red flags for being a neckbeard or a nice guy not knowing what one was at the time. He started talking crap about the girls he had been with, calling them slots, and he even mentioned their names too, and by the way, I even knew those girls that he was talking about. Neckbeard was saying that he would treat me so much better and be the best guy he could ever be, like something a typical nice guy would say. He asked me to hang out tonight, and I told him I had plans and I needed to go to work. Then I get non-stop explicit text messages from Neckbeard asking me personal questions about my messing around life and saying that he wanted to eat me out. I told him that I can't talk right now and I'm working. Neckbeard doesn't listen and sends me even more disgusting messages, writing paragraphs by saying something like this: "I'm a good man, I want a good woman. Don't hold what your ex did against me, I will treat you so much better." He then ends the paragraph with, "I want to eat you out," and then Neckbeard asks me even more personal questions about my messing around life, and I refused to answer, and he got angry at me and asked again. He would even get mad at me if I mentioned his cousin P or other guys. Neckbeard's text messages got so annoying that I temporarily blocked him on Messenger so I can continue working. After work, I met up with a guy from Tinder where we call him M. M took me to his friend's house and noticed that I felt uncomfortable. M asked what was wrong and I didn't want to show him the messages Neckbeard was sending me, and so I did. I read a part of them out loud and M told me, no, drop him. M and his friends and I got drunk, and M had the audacity to bring up Neckbeard. I was supposed to be embarrassed, but I was too drunk to care. Instead, I went along with it, and all three of us made fun of Neckbeard behind his back. I asked to read the text messages out loud, and so I did. They got a kick out of that. I got so drunk to the point of blacking out. The next morning, M took me home, and Neckbeard starts texting me. He asked if he wanted to get to know me. I thought about what M said, so I stood up and I politely said no, and Neckbeard asked why. I told him that he was sending me creepy messages, and Neckbeard attempts to guilt trip me by saying this: "It's okay, you're not going to find someone, have a good life." I have screenshots of him being a total creep and sent them to his cousin P, and he was like, WTF? P and I got to joke around about how a thirsty piece of shot Neckbeard was being. According to P, I got to hear juicy details about Neckbeard that really thanked me for dodging more bullets. Neckbeard doesn't shower or brush his teeth, his house is a total Neckbeard nest, and refuses to pay for the trash bill. He has no job, and he freeloaded off his grandma until she died. Overall, I really regretted meeting a total stranger on Facebook. I grew up really sheltered and lived in a toxic household before I moved out. I have abandonment issues, and if it wasn't for M saving my butt, I would have still probably dealt with Neckbeard. P and I are still good friends, and he would tell me a little bit about his cousin Neckbeard. I had developed a crush on M and cut ties with him for being a butthole. I took a break from dating and focusing on myself from now on. I'm honestly really glad that you are focusing on yourself. Like, after all the stuff that you've probably been through growing up, you might just need to take a step back, take a breather, and just kind of reassess your situation and see where you can improve and what good traits you already have about yourself. Because you probably have a whole bunch of really good quality parts about yourself, you just don't want to have to waste that on somebody who's not going to be that equal to you. I'm glad you don't have to deal with that Neckbeard anymore, and honestly, he kind of just seems like a downright bad person. Like, seriously, freeloading off your grandmother until she dies and just not brushing your teeth and missing teeth, yeah, that's kind of a deal breaker for me, sorry. Bottom line, I hope you do really well, and I hope things work out well for you. And with that, that is going to have to be it for the video. If you had liked what you had seen, be sure to like the video, comment down below what you liked about the video, and consider subscribing to the channel and checking out the other videos. I'll be sure to see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.